So, cashback versus points, the classic debate for credit cards. On one hand, you have cashback credit cards, which is pretty straightforward. You use the card and you get cashback, kind of like you're getting a small discount every time you make a purchase. On the other hand, you have the points and rewards credit cards, where every time you use the card, you get rewarded points that's valued differently depending on what card you're using. So, as you can see, not all points are created equal, and surprisingly, not all cashback is created equal as well. I'll get to that in a bit. So in this video, let's talk about cashback versus points in credit cards and determine what fits your lifestyle best. Now you might be surprised, even cashback credit cards aren't rewarded the same. On one hand, you have the Rogers mastercard or the Brim mastercard that allows you to redeem cashback as soon as the purchase goes through. For example, if you make $100 in purchase with the Rogers mastercard, you get $2 in rewards because, well, you get at least 2% cashback if you're a Rogers Shaw or Fido customer. You can then immediately go to your app and redeem that amount to another purchase. And if you redeem for Rogers Shaw or Fido bill, you're getting 50% more cashback, so a total of 3% cashback for this credit card. Which is why I say that Rogers mastercard is a 3% cashback credit card, because you just have to redeem for Rogers Shaw or Fido bills. It's just funny to me that whenever I see your new video, I already know that you're gonna mention the Rogers mastercard. Okay, you know what? I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. I swear, this guy rides Rogers credit cards more than anyone.
No, 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 no.
I swear, I'm not sponsored by them. So the cashback value you get from Rogers or Brim is worth more than a card, say Scotiabank Momentum Visa Infinite. Now, the Scotiabank Momentum Visa Infinite is an amazing card, don't get me wrong. It is one of the best cards in Canada solely based on the fact that it gives 4% cashback for recurring bills. So if you pair with checks, you can pay for rent and get cashback. The only problem is Scotiabank only hands out cashback once a year in November. So you're missing out on a lot of investment opportunities had you been able to cash out as soon as possible. There are cashback credit cards out there like CIBC that allows you to cash out once you accumulated $25, but obviously you would prefer to cash out whenever you want. But it's certainly better than getting a cash out check once a year. Next, let's talk about credit card points. Obviously, all credit card points are valued differently. There are some points like Scene Points, which is basically as flexible as cashback. Every 1,000 Scene Points can be redeemed for $10 in groceries credit at Sobeys branded supermarkets. You have MBNA points that can be redeemed for gift cards at about 100 points to $1 ratio. So both point systems are very similar to cashback, although not quite. And finally, you have points that's only really worth it if you redeem for flights. For example, Aeroplan, Avion Elite points from RBC. Essentially, for 99% of the credit card point systems in Canada, you need to redeem for flights to maximize your returns. So let's look at the example from CIBC Ventura point system. By the way, this is from Credit Card Genius, so all the credit goes to them. If you redeem points for travel, you're getting approximately 2 cents per point. Now, if you redeem for something else like merch or gift cards, that value goes way down to 0.71 cents per point. So in that sense, there's no reason for you to redeem anything other than flights. These point systems basically force you to redeem your points through travels. It's the same with RBC, BMO, TD, or Aeroplan. And what's important is that each point is worth differently based on what credit card you're using. For example, BMO points are only worth 0.67 cents if you redeem for travel, and TD points are only worth 0.5 cents. So if you see a credit card with high multipliers like the TD First Class Travel Visa Infinite with 6 times multipliers for groceries and restaurants, just note that the actual return is up to 3% if you redeem for flights, which isn't that impressive. Now, on another note, one of the most popular credit cards in Canada, the Cobalt card. And for good reason, because each Amex point is worth about 2 cents if you transfer over to Aeroplan points, and this card has high multipliers. 5 times multipliers for groceries and restaurants, which is about 10% return in travel points, which makes this card the best in its class. Now, you might have seen a video I made last year where I cut up my Cobalt card. Why did I do it? Here's the problem, at least for me. As I mentioned before, to maximize Amex points, you have to book through Aeroplan. And unfortunately, there are some flights that only a certain amount of seats are dedicated to point redemption. What that means is if those seats are already booked by somebody else with Aeroplan points, to be honest, I don't think it even has to be Aeroplan points. I think flights have a certain amount of seats dedicated to any type of point redemptions. So if those seats are fully booked out, you're out of luck. You'll either have to find another date to travel or pay in cash. And I slowly realized that the lane that I traveled the most in, from Vancouver to Taipei, either I redeem for flights with multiple layovers, or I have to book like 6 months in advance, which makes it really hard for me to maximize the value of my points. And not to mention, if I have to book my travel dates based on what flights that I can redeem using my Aeroplan points, it's not an easy thing to do. So yeah, Aeroplan for me isn't that flexible. Might as well pay like $2,000 for the ticket and save myself the headache. So for me, the value of each Aeroplan point becomes less and less as I struggle to find the flights that fit my requirements. Had I used a card like the Scotiabank Gold Amex or the MBNA Rewards World Elite MasterCard, I could have redeemed the points to pay for my grocery bills, and using that money that I saved, invest it in the market for higher returns instead of having my Aeroplan points sit there in limbo. And not to mention, Aeroplan points expire. So at the end of the day, cashback or point system, what works best for you really depends on your lifestyle. Personally, I would prefer to work with cashback credit cards. If possible, cards that allow you to cash out whenever you want without having to wait a year. And if I do have to work with points, I would prefer point systems where travel isn't a necessity to maximize your point value. So seeing points or MBNA points. But if you're a heavy traveler and don't mind shifting your travel dates once in a while, then a points card that maximizes value on travel might work better for you. Anyways, that's it for today. Let me know what you prefer for credit cards, points or cashback. And if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you're new to the channel, I make financial tips for Canadians in my long-form content and financial comedy in my shorts. But anyways, with that said, thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.